Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And unsurprised, Disney Plus is going to offer an ad-supported tier. Just like every other streaming service, we speculated before this probably was going to happen because Bob Chapek likes money. And of course, if you can't get more money out of subscribers, you get money out of advertisers. I'm actually surprised it took them this long. They've kind of hit a ceiling on the number of people willing to pay for Disney Plus, but now Disney Plus is kind of going the route of Disney Channel. It used to be a premium service, and then after a while, they're like, well, let's just offer it to everybody.
And they start putting ads on it. People have mentioned that actually in a couple of articles I've seen. And what's interesting too is, you know, they're lowering the price obviously for this ad-supported version, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But I don't think that's going to bring subscribers in. Other places that do ad-supported, like Tubi and stuff, offer it for free with ads. I think the only way they're going to get their subscribers up at this point is if they offer it for free with ads. Because if people aren't going to pay $7 a month, they're not going to pay $5.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's $2, $3 difference. I mean,
yeah, if we're talking like, you know, HBO Max, which is actually pretty expensive comparatively speaking, it's like 15 to 20 bucks or whatever it is now. That's a much steeper buy, but they're even doing ad support, I think, or they're going to be here pretty soon. So Peacock is doing it. Everybody's doing the ad thing. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about this since we're talking about Disney Plus, the Anastasia debacle. There was a rumor going around that Anastasia, the classic Don Bluth animated movie, which our daughter loves quite a bit now.
I always liked it too. I used to sing the songs from it all the time.
Yeah, she just discovered it, and you have a cell. I think you have a production cell.
I do.
Yeah. So, there was a rumor that Disney Plus took it off because of backlash against Russia in like a freedom fries kind of a move, and that is not actually what happened. We'll talk a little bit more about that later, but I thought it was kind of amusing because I'm like, you know what? This is an American-produced movie starring Americans talking about Russia from 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Why would they ban this? This makes no sense.
They wouldn't.
And they didn't. So we'll talk about this. So before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, over 260,000 subs.
Yay!
Finally. Thank you for the support. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit the subscribe button. Like us, comment. Only good stuff.
Yeah,
only good stuff.
I wish it doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's all we get here. We just get sunshine and kittens here on Clownfish TV. That's okay. Most of the negative comments, they never get seen. They get buried. So we're gonna talk about this. Gotta give a hat tip to Mr. Milo, who put a version out on, I love this, Disney Minus.
Yeah, he did that. It was funny because when he put it up, it was just a rumor, but then it was confirmed this morning, I believe. So I had to go back and add that information to it. But as of today, here, let me have the mouse. My turn. It is confirmed that Kareem Daniel, who's the chairman of Disney Media and Entertainment, said,
I can't keep track of who's where.
I know
anymore.
it's like musical execs. Expanding access to Disney Plus to a broader audience at a lower price point is a win for everyone. Consumers, advertisers, and our storytellers, mostly Disney and their wallet. More consumers will be able to access our amazing content. Advertisers will be able to reach a wider audience, and our storytellers will be able to share their incredible work with more fans and families.
Oh boy!
So, from what I'm understanding, I don't think I have a price in here, but I think they're guessing. I think Mr. Mello said they were guessing it's going to be about $5 versus the current $8.
That's not much.
Right. It's ridiculous. And then I guess the Rita Farrow, who is the head of ad sales, said that they're going to have more information at their upfront. Now, upfront in May is when all these places are out there promoting to like the marketing. Like they're trying to get people to spend money, the advertisers. It's a big advertising marketing event, basically.
Yeah.
And they said that, the advertisers are clamoring for this. I'm sure they are.
Hulu has got so many ads on it now. It's ridiculous. You pause Hulu and there are ads on the pause screen.
There is. You have on the side. They'll have yes.
And we actually pay for supposedly the ad-free version of it.
Oh, like hell we do. We don't get ad-free.
And on new shows anyway, there are ads like every 30 seconds. It's absolutely ridiculous. And Disney's definitely going to advertise the hell out of this. And I think eventually it's going to go. I mean, it might be offered at a lower tier now. I think it's going to be free eventually. It might be the the stripped down version of Disney Plus, like all of our archived content, not new stuff. Well, obviously, you're not going to get The Mandalorian or anything like that, anything new. Or if you do, you might get like the old seasons of it. But I think they'll go free because Peacock does.
Oh, eventually?
Yeah.
Well, I think they're trying to get their numbers up because, like we mentioned in that last video we did about the Disney Plus thing where we're talking about the investor call. And that was like a Hail Mary pass when they rolled everybody into one, like, oh, if you subscribe to this, you automatically get Disney Plus, and they were doing it to boost the subscribers. Well, now come next investor call, why isn't it going up?
Yeah, that's exactly what this is about, because they've hit a ceiling, and so now we're looking at some other options. We're looking at mature content. We're looking at an ad-free version of it.
Well, I think you're right. I think what's going to happen is eventually they might either make it like rock bottom price or free because they need to get those numbers up.
Yeah.
And they'll just make up the money with advertisers.
Yeah, that's what they'll do. Again, this is exactly what they did with the Disney Channel, where it started out as a premium service, and then they lowered the price of it after the first couple of years. I remember you were a rich kid if you had Disney Channel and HBO.
Unless you had a black box.
May or may not have had an uncle that may or may not have worked for the cable company that may or may not have had access to those sorts of things, except for the Playboy channel, which was always scrambled. But I could listen and guess. I had no idea what was going on. You couldn't
see anything. It was like little blobs of pixelated blurs. You couldn't tell what was going on.
I could hear stuff. Anyway.
You can hear stuff,
You can hear stuff. Good old days, right?
80 Kids Story. Anyway.
But yeah, so it started off, Disney Channel was premium, and then eventually it went free with ads, and then it just became a giant toy commercial with a bunch of Nickelodeon type shows on it. And
I remember the commercial started on there. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I think Mr. Milo mentioned in the article too. He said at this point, it's like, how's this any different than cable?
It's not. That's the thing. I mean, I was actually going to say that myself. I'm like, if we're looking at Peacock and all these other ad supported. Streaming networks, eventually we're just going to have cable all over again, except it's going to cost more.
Yeah,
it's going to cost more. Everybody went to cut the cable to save money paying, Comcast and DirecTV, and now everything is going through the roof. And then like Comcast, they'll I don't know what the consumer version is like. We actually have business class, but I know that they were actually capping people's internet usage because they were angry. People were cutting the cable and using their internet to stream Netflix and Hulu and all that stuff. So anyway, this is coming from Variety. In the first for Disney's flagship direct-to-consumer streaming service, Disney Plus will launch an ad-supported subscription plan this year. I guarantee you they're going to go free eventually.
Yeah, they said that it's going to be end of this year, next year in the other markets, but this year in our market.
The ad-supported Disney Plus plan will be introduced beginning in the U.S. Late 2020. Yep. That's what I said. No pricing or specific launch date announced. The ad-supported, so this is S is subscription VOD. A is ad-supported VOD version of Disney Plus will be offered at a price less than the regular ad-free version, which is $7.99.
It's only $7.99 a month now.
Yeah, I know. It's actually Disney Plus is like one of the cheapest. I think Peacock's like $5 or something. Disney said the ad-supported version of Disney Plus is a building block for the company's target of reaching 230 to 260 million Disney Plus subs.
You're only going to get that if you make it free. I'm just telling you straight up.
If you
people aren't going to pay $5.
If you can't afford $7, you can't afford $5.
I think it's $8 now because remember they raised it.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
But I'm like, people aren't going to pay it.
At the end of 2021, Disney Plus had 129.8 million paying subs, gaining 11.8 million for the quarter. And I can tell you where a lot of those came from. They came from Hulu because they basically forced you to subscribe to Disney Plus as part of your package, and they jacked up the prices of Hulu.
Yeah, it worked out as a good deal for somebody to get ESPN, the Disney Plus, and the Hulu thing. If it worked out to be a better deal for you price wise, but that's for people that wanted those things.
Yeah.
If you're somebody who didn't want those things, you're basically being paid. You're forced to pay for things you didn't want.
So they do have an ad-supported version of HBO Max. Other streamers offer ad-free and ad-supported plans include Paramount, Discovery Plus, and Peacock. This is what they had to say about, this is Kareem Daniel. Yeah, never mind. So yeah, it's basically like, we can reach more people. That's what this is about. And look, the media is already calling it. It's like they need to grow. They already played the Hulu card.
But here's more for that. Here's more from that Rita Farrow. Advertisers have been clamoring for the opportunity to be part of Disney Plus, and not just because there's a growing demand for more streaming inventory. Disney Plus with advertising will offer marketers the most premium environment in streaming with our most beloved brands: Disney, Pixar, Star Wars, Marvel, and National Geographic, because they're the Borg. And here's the thing: you know what people are going to do? If there's a bunch of shows they want to watch, they'll wait till several things come out, subscribe for a month, watch them all, and cancel.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just going to be cable all over again. You're going to either pay for or get ad-supported Disney Channel, HBO. I mean, it's the same players. Disney Channel, HBO, Showtime will be part of Paramount now. Same thing. It's all the same thing. We're going right back to where we started from. But it's a lot more complicated now because instead of just having the TV set, now you've got to have like 15 different streaming services.
Yep.
Absolutely crazy. So speaking of crazy, let's talk about this. IndieWire, no, Disney Plus did not pull Anastasia as a statement about Russia's war in the Ukraine. I had a bunch of people send me this on Twitter, and that was a speculation. I'm like, Disney wouldn't be nuts enough to do something like that. I'm like, no, they totally would. But I'm like, Russia had nothing to do with this movie.
No.
This is an American...
it did, but
this is an American-produced animated classic, American actors, American producers, American film company. It just happens to take place in Russia. The film's removal had to do with a pre-existing contract dispute. I know people were upset that it wasn't on Disney Plus sooner. It said Disney's decision to pull Anastasia from Disney Plus was not a bold act of political defiance.
Oh, we're going to talk about their bold acts of political defiances in another article.
The reality is likely a much less exciting example of a standard contract dispute. The film is still streaming on Disney Plus in other countries, and it's simply unavailable in America, making it more likely it was pulled due to a dispute over the American streaming rights to the film. The blog whatsondisneyplus.com, who broke the story, wrote that this removal from Disney Plus has nothing to do with the current crisis involving Ukraine and Russia. It's probably just a contract dispute.
By the way, What's on Disney Plus is a really good site. They usually get a lot of really good information. Yeah. So I'm going to give them a shout out because they're a really good go-to for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I just think it's funny. It's like we're talking, 25-year-old American animated movie. Like, why would they even pull that? And it's like, oh my God, it's so problematic now. Nobody wants to think about Russia, so we're gonna pull this old movie down. And it's like, what? So is that gonna be the next thing? Like how they're scrubbing the Yahtzees from all media now? The next thing is gonna be like, let's just remove any reference to Russians at all.
Yeah.
From any media ever. Every movie with a Russian in it or Russian sounding name or something, we're gonna get rid of.
Good luck with that.
Especially
in the 80s, because they loved
like every movie.
Every movie. Russia was a bad guy. And it was the USSR. Soviet Union.
Yeah, it was. God, it's, the 80s are coming right back around.
Someone said, it's like all of my favorite things are coming back from the 80s. And they're like Ghostbusters. They list all these 80s shows and they go to the Soviet Union.
Tears for Fears put a new album out and it's actually really good.
Really?
Yeah, I was listening to it on Amazon.
They were still around.
They're still around and they put a new album out. And I thought it was, I'm like, wait, why is Tears for Fears trending along with Russia and Nukes on Twitter? And they put a new album out a couple weeks ago. It's actually pretty good. And, it's so weird because ABBA put a new album out last year. That. And it sounded like it could have been recorded in the 1970s. Like, they sounded pretty good. I don't know how much, they had to use the studio tricks to make them sound that good at their age. But, I mean, I was like, wow, that's weird.
How very ageist of you.
It is. Well, no, I think it's cool because we live in an era now where maybe people are like, hey, let's give older people a chance, especially when it comes to music.
Well, it also helps everybody's trying to they're trying to relive and reboot the 80s and the 90s, so it makes sense that they would go and get Tears for Fears.
There you go. All right. Shout, let it all out. All right, we're going to wrap.
Yes.
This is why I don't sing. We're going to wrap it up.
Yes.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.